Hello and welcome to another episode of Retro Gaming TV 5. It's been a long time since the last time I did a little video like this, but I do have a very interesting game that I wanted to show off to a lot of people, and many people may know the story behind this, others may not. If you're coming across this video, enjoy. If you're a first-time viewer, enjoy. A lot of people are first-time viewers because I only have one other video as of this point. But that's not going to stop me from making more in the future. I'm going to probably do as many of these as I possibly can to show everyone kind of a good glimpse of my gaming collection. So, first things first is I have with me a game that is extremely rare and that I find to be one of the most fun games to play when when it's nighttime, when I've got nothing else to do. I want to work my brain a little bit, something like that. And this is a game that it's a little bit rare. But I did pick it up for a very cheap price, so I guess the rare purpose is not necessarily, maybe the sequels to this game are just a little bit more rare, but this is SwordQuest for the Atari 2600. SwordQuest is it's an interesting game. The purpose of this game is to go around rooms and collect items, and then you have to drop them in items, and you find clues, and you find those clues by looking around in a comic book that I have here. The comic book is right here. In fact, it's a very colorful comic book, as you can see. It's just a lot of colors. I mean, and it's a pretty good read. I have read this comic book. It's a pretty good read. It just kind of gives you a good detailing about SwordQuest and everything. And really and truly, I do enjoy this a lot. This is a fun game. But when I picked this up on eBay about say maybe 6 months ago, around this time, and it was a very good investment for me. I paid about $15 to a guy on eBay. He said he was including the box, but I never received the box. That was a kind of disappointing, but I wasn't really going to complain because, it's one of these things. If you have the comic book, I have the original manual, and I also have a very cool poster that he also included. This is the SwordQuest official poster. That's very cool. I dropped it. And on the back, you can see it has the official rules contrast entry forms. I don't know if you can see that up here. Official rules, everything, and it's got a place where down here you would write in what words you found. If you found the correct words, and you would send this into Atari, and Atari would bring you to their headquarters, and you would be able to play for a $25,000 prize. I believe in here it does say what the prizes are. Like here, you have the little amulet that you could win, Philosopher's Stone over there. I think that was for Waterworld, actually. The Waterworld, I think it was a Philosopher's Stone. I think the chalice was for this game, Earthworld, and then you have the crown. I think that was that Waterworld? I don't remember really off the top of my head, but I mean that's what SwordQuest was. It was a massive, massive game. This is before it was like a video game-based contest. It was a video game-based scavenger hunt. It was really interesting at the time, because back then in the 70s, a lot of people were thinking, what exactly are video games? what can we do with these things? How can we get people more involved with a video game per se? And that was Atari's idea here with SwordQuest. But I do want to take a real quick look at the cartridge. Just to show you guys a little bit of what the cartridge looks like. As you can see, it says SwordQuest Earthworld. It's got this really interesting, not really kind of sure, it's a little faded, I mean, so I'm not entirely sure what this is, but it does, it looks like there's a person with a sword here, and then you've got a girl over here, maybe he's defending her, I'm not sure. I think they're actually the characters from the comic book, like I showed off here. And I do want to show you guys a little bit of the manual that comes with it. The manual is just a basic Atari manual, but instead of having instead of just having your instructions on how to play the game, it actually gives you a detailed descriptions on how to play SwordQuest and how to do everything. So you have these are what the rooms are. So when you play the game, you plug the game in, and you basically go into different rooms, and each room that you go into is a little is a different color, and they represent different zodiac signs. And over here you can see all the items you have, so it makes it a lot easier to figure out. You say you're going into a room and you say, I don't have a clue what this item is, because Atari, these are very primitive graphics you gotta remember, and so when you have something like this, it's just there for you. It makes your life a lot easier. And then it comes up here. I really do love, this is a little funny thing here. It gives you a clue. It says this is a clue. They really just changed the number from 16.5 to 16.5 when it's the original clue is just 16.4. Anyone who plays the first 20 minutes of the game could pretty much figure that out, that it's 16.4. That's the first clue. And actually, first, if you guys want spoilers, or if anyone's not going to play SwordQuest in their life, I'll show you. Basically, 16 means page 16, panel 4, and I believe I've gotten to a couple more levels on SwordQuest so far, but I believe that all of your clues are contained in this comic book, and I believe they are all page numbers as well as panel numbers. So that's an easy way to play SwordQuest right there. And they made 2 others of these. There was supposed to be there was actually released Fireworld, which is a little bit more difficult to get, but not that expensive. Maybe you could probably get the cartridge for maybe $10, but to get the full-blown comic book and entry form as well as the manual is probably going to be a little bit more expensive. I've been looking for a while trying to find a good deal on it. I think I found one for about $20. That's not a bad deal. So for any game collector out there who likes to collect for Atari, I know Atari is one of my favorite consoles to collect for, because when you're playing 2600 games, they have a great replay value. It's just like playing an arcade game, you know? That's what's so much fun, is you can pop in a 2600 game into your console, play some Atari, and enjoy yourself. Another thing that I do want to say is they've also made Waterworld, which is, it's actually kind of funny. Waterworld is not, it came before the Kevin Costner movie and everything, and you know, I always find that kind of a little bit hilarious, because you kind of expect something like, you know, like the Virtual Boy game that was a Waterworld. You kind of almost expect something like that, but it's not, because you have to remember we're talking about a game that came out in the early 80s here, not something that was, you know, when Waterworld was around. So, and then they did not make the final chapter because Atari went bankrupt afterwards due to the video game crash of 1983, which I watched a lot of video on, and apparently nobody even noticed it happened. So, but Atari did go bankrupt, and unfortunately there was no contest for Waterworld or Airworld that I'm aware of. But yeah, I'm going to try and pick myself up a copy of Fireworld. I'll give you guys a good, decent review on that. I'm still working on possibly getting these videos up. I mean, I might be able to hold my camera up to the television screen, but that might be a little bit more difficult for me to do and a lot less quality. So, but that is my review over SwordQuest, just a basic overview of what it was and the cartridge as well as the comic book to give you guys a little bit of an idea of what it is. And also, just for any of you game collectors, Earthworld is probably one of the easiest SwordQuest games to pick up. But in order to play SwordQuest, you absolutely have to have the comic book. You can get away without the manual, but that's going to be a little bit more difficult for you. But I'm sure as long as you have the cartridge and the comic book, you will be able to play SwordQuest. It's just going to be a little bit more difficult for you without the manual. So that is my review on SwordQuest. I hope you all enjoyed it. I will have more reviews in the coming days and maybe even coming hours, depending on when I get this uploaded. So thank you very much for all watching, and I'll see you again next time on Retro Gaming TV 5.